Hey guys, this is Alfred back with another video. Today I'll be showcasing the Keqing Tazer comp, which I've been using in the Spiral Biz. I've used it a couple times. Although it's really hard to pilot at times, it's still very fun to use and definitely a comp you should try if you have the current units right here and if you have a Keqing. So how the comp works, we're going to try kill opponents by electrocharging them, so the normal Tazer comp. What we're trying to utilize is this high voltage right here. The Hydro one we don't really care, but what's important is this high voltage where we have a higher chance of getting the electro elemental particle. This means that we have a very high uptime in our elemental burst. Okay, so how to gear each character. First of all, Keqing is our main DPS, so we're gonna start with her first. So the weapon of choice is the Mist Splitter Reforged. This is the one I'm currently using and I think it's the best for Keqing at the moment. There are other substitutes are the Primordial Jade Cutter and the Summit Shaper. Those two are very strong for her. For 4 stars, I actually have a couple right here. The one I'm currently using is Lion's Roar, but right now for this showcase I'll be using the Mist Splitter Reforged, but this is a good alternative. Another good alternative is the Flute. Definitely recommended. He has a very good attack percent stat, and the stats they give down here in the description is also very good. Other notable one is the Black Sword from the shop. I think that's also pretty good. The crit damage is very strong, and the Battle Pass weapon is also really good because of the stats that it provides. Now for artifacts, the best in slot is the 2-piece Gladiator, 2-piece Under Fury, or you can also 2-piece Shimenawa. It doesn't matter which one you use. But this set is really good. It just gives a lot of damage overall. So this is the set that I recommend for this build itself. Another alternative will be the 4-piece Thunder Fury, because it actually increased damage from Electrocharge, which is what we're trying to utilize, by 40%. The only catch of this is it's pretty hard to farm the 4-piece, but if you have the 4-piece, the 4-piece Thunder Fury is also pretty good. Although for more consistent damage, this is a lot better. Now for the rest of the team, the core is Keqing and Xingqiu, so as long as you have these two, you should be good to go. So for Xingqiu, weapons, the best is the Sacrificial Sword. If you have the Primordial Jade Cutter and you're not using it for Keqing, you can definitely put it on Xingqiu. Unfortunately, I don't have it, so it's either you use this or the Primordial Jade Cutter. Sadly, I don't think any of the other weapons are good for him, so just try your best to get the Sacrificial Sword if possible, right? If you don't have it, Favonius Soul also works because all you're trying to do is get as much ER as you can for Xingqiu. For artifacts, the best in slot is the 4-piece Emblem of Severed Fate. Reason why is you actually have a lot of damage in this set, and you also get a lot of energy recharge, so you have a high burst uptime. So if you don't have this, alternatives are such as the 2-piece Noblesse. You get the elemental burst damage as well, so it's pretty much similar to the 4-piece Emblem of Severed Fate. You can pair it up with 2-piece Heart of Depth. It's also very strong, increase your Hydro damage. If you don't have any of these sets, you can also go 2-piece Gladiator, similar as Keqing, or 2-piece Shimenawa, so just mix and match if you can, with the end goal of getting 4-piece of Emblem of Severed Fate. Of course, there's another alternative, the 4-piece Noblesse. Unfortunately, this set is not really too good because your Elemental Burst has a very high cooldown of 20 seconds, if I check. Yep, it's 20 seconds. It's pretty damn long. That's why I just recommend you try to maximize your burst instead. You'll do a lot of damage. Trust me, you will need more damage in this comp than you ever need before. Alright, so with those 2 core pieces out of the way, these are the other 2 characters. I will talk about Fischl first, because in this comp you need at least 2 Electro. So Fischl is my main choice right here. For weapons, I am using the Amos Bow. I think this weapon is pretty good, especially for the stats. If you have Polar, the new Polar Star weapon is also very strong. Any of the 5 stars are also very good in my opinion. For 4 stars, the best option is the Stringless. This weapon is just too good on Fischl. He has a very high base attack, has good EM, and increase your elemental skill damage, which is the main part of why you use Stringless in the first place, right? So other alternatives, you do have Stringless. Windbloom Ode also works. The new Inazuma Bow, which I'm not going to try to pronounce, is also pretty good. For artifacts, I'm running something similar to Keqing. I am using the 2-piece Shimenawa, or you can use Glad, and 2-piece Thunder Fury. This is the best set for an off-field Fischl. If you're a Fischl main DPS, you might not use this set, but this is it for Fischl, right, for this comp. And now for my Mona, I am using the Widsith. Any 5-star weapon will be sufficient as well, the best being Skyward Atlas. If you don't have the Widsith, you can use Trilling Tales, the TTT yes, like I said, but one thing to note is during your rotation, you need to make sure you swap to Keqing after you use Mona. If not, this skill here is pretty much wasted. So if you don't have the Widsif, you can use Eye of Perception. He has a very high base attack and attack for a 4-piece. And of course, if you need more ER, you can go to Favonius Codex. It's also pretty decent. If you need EM, which I don't recommend, but if you don't have any of the weapons, you can also go for a Sacrificial Fragment. This is very good. Once again, the easiest one to get is TTDS if you're not sure what's the best 5-star. But essentially, if you have more damage, it also works. So make sure to choose your weapon wisely based on what you have. For artifacts, the one I'm rocking right now is the 2-piece Noblesse, 2-piece Heart of Depth. Similar to the other characters, you can't go Gladiator, you can go Shimenawa if you don't have any of these pieces, 2-piece each. But the one you should be working for as well for Mona is the Emblem of Severed Fate. Unlike Xingqiu, you can actually use the Noblesse Oblige because her ult is not really that long compared to Xingqiu, so you have a good uptime with your Elemental Burst itself. Okay, so moving on to substitutes. So if you don't have any of the characters shown here, what can you do? So like I said, the two main characters is Keqing and Xingqiu. If you don't have either of this, I don't really recommend this comp. So assuming you have both of this already, how can we work with the other characters? Like I said, you need a second Electro character. It does not need to be official. You can run something like Lisa actually. Lisa is actually really good because of her talent right here, the Static Electricity Field, which basically means her Elemental Burst will do more damage. And it also reduces their defense, so that's really good for Keqing and all your other characters. Another notable option is Kujo Sara. With her Constellation 2, which I have, you don't need to use a charge attack to leave a feather anymore. You can just use your elemental skill right here. And you also leave the feather, you just have to walk on it and you get the burst. It applies Electro as well, which is very good. The Electro charges and helps your resonance. Another notable option is Raiden Shogun. The main reason why you use Raiden Shogun in this team is so that you can use her Muso Shinsetsu, which is her burst, and you'll be using it to get back your energy for your team. So if you're using Raiden Shogun, just remember your rotation will be slightly different. You want to start with her skill first and then moving on to the normal rotation. Last but not least is everyone's favorite pirate, Beidou. If you don't have any of these other Electro characters, you can use Beidou, although I don't really recommend her because her skill, the Stormbreaker, requires you to use normal and charge attacks. But in this comp, you'll be spamming your elemental burst quite a bit, so you might be losing out on the Stormbreaker itself. Other than that, it's really good, especially with more constellations where you can bounce to more enemies, so you can teaser more people. Although I would say that her Tide Color is very good, especially if you are not used to dodging opponents' hits and skills. So now that we got these three characters out of the way, now it's left this middle slot. You can use any Hydra character as well. So something like Barbara, if you really desperately need healing, you can use the Barbara. If you didn't notice already, my comp actually has no healing at all. The new 5-star Kokomi is also very viable. Not only does it give healing, but it also applies Hydro very fast with her burst and her skill. So that's really recommended. Other options are enable characters such as Venti. Venti is really good. If you're planning to use Venti, you can use a Stringless Elegy similar to Fischl, and the main reason why you'll run him is for this 4-piece Viridescent Venerer, and on top of that you can also suck enemies in with Venti. Sucrose pretty much does the same thing. You can run Sucrose as well. It's pretty much the same thing as Venti. Kazuha is also very welcome in this team. So for this flex slot, it's either gonna be a second Hydra character, an Anemo character, or Zhongli. You can also put Zhongli here, why not? I don't have Zhongli, but he's also very strong. He just boosts your team's damage overall. For rotations, it's actually pretty simple. As long as you use Keqing's burst at the end of the rotation, it should be fine. The main reason for this is because you'll be spamming her charge attacks or auto attacks in between rotations while waiting for your character's skills and burst to come up. Another important thing is if you're using a Catalyst user with Trilling Tales of Dragon Slayer, in this example I'm using Mona, you need to make sure you swap to Keqing immediately after using the Catalyst user so that Keqing can get the damage bonus. So what are the pros and cons for this team? The first pro is that we actually have a very high energy uptime. This means that we're able to get back our burst more frequently, and that makes for a lot of iframe. So for players that have trouble dodging enemy hits and enemy attacks, this comp helps you because it really negates that whole element of dodging if you can just iframe every single hit. The second pro, which is like a further elaboration of the first pro, is that it actually has a very low skill ceiling. So this comp is really easy to run. All you have to do is make sure you manage your energy properly and you should be fine. Unlike the Child comp or a Tau comp, this team does not have a lot of mechanics. All you have to learn how to do is funnel particles properly. The third pro is that we're actually using Keqing, so she's waifu and that's always a plus for me. Now for cons. The first con is this team actually uses Xingqiu. So as I said earlier, the core pieces are Keqing and Xingqiu. And why is having Xingqiu a con is because if you're doing Spiral Biz, it actually really hinders your process, because if you pick Xingqiu in this team, you're missing out in other teams such as the Vaporized team like Diluc Li, or you're missing out on National team. And since those teams do so much more damage in this, it's kind of a wasted potential if you use Xingqiu in this Keqing team. The second con is this team doesn't do that much damage even with Xingqiu unless you're really invested and have really good artifacts, high constellation on your characters. In the end, this team is still really mediocre, it's really lackluster. That's why this team doesn't really perform too well. So for those wondering, should you invest in this comp? My straight up answer is no, unless you want to make Keqing your main DPS, or you're starting out and you don't have other stronger DPS such as Hu Tao Ayaka. Then I recommend this team, which is really easy to pilot. It's really easy to learn the game from this team. Other than that, there are stronger characters out there which I recommend you guys focus on. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and comment down below what team or character would you like to see next, and subscribe if you love content like this and want to see more in the future. Thanks.